Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that the distance between where you are and where you want to be is not fate or luck or timing. It is a choice. The choice to step forward, to begin. It isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. The Stoics reminded us of this often. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what happens outside of us, but we can always choose how we respond. And one of the strongest responses we can make is to decide, here and now, that we are worthy of striving for more. Doubt will always whisper. That inner voice will say you are not ready, not capable, not enough. But readiness does not come from waiting. It comes from stepping into the task before you. You do not become strong by holding back for ideal conditions. You become strong by showing up, especially when things are uncertain. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself daily, focus only on what you can control and act with integrity regardless of circumstance. That is where our real power lies. So today, we'll explore this simple but transformative idea, living as if you already have what it takes, not pretending, not posturing, but committing to your full potential in the present moment. The moment you decide to live this way is the moment life begins to shift. Not because opportunities suddenly appear, but because you are no longer waiting on them. You are choosing to meet each day as the best version of yourself, even in small ways. This is not about being perfect or superior. It is about setting your own standard, one rooted in growth, in discipline, and in the courage to act. The Stoics knew this well. The true measure of life is not what happens, but how we rise to meet it. One of the most powerful emperors in history reminded himself daily to act with virtue, not for glory, not for praise, but simply because it was the right thing to do. For him, each day was an opportunity to strive for excellence, not in competition with others, but in competition with his own potential. When you decide to aim for your best, you are not promising a life free from mistakes or hardship. The Stoics were clear. Life is full of obstacles, yet it is through these very obstacles that we are shaped. To choose the path of your best self is to meet challenges directly, using them as tools to become stronger and wiser. Transformation begins here, not in waiting for the perfect moment, but in choosing now to act with purpose and steadiness. From that choice, everything else follows. Your standards rise. Your actions begin to match your values. You move closer to the person you know you can be. But let's be clear. To act as if you are the best does not mean arrogance. It is not about strutting or placing yourself above others. It is about holding yourself to the highest standard you are capable of, striving for excellence not for recognition, but for your own growth. Think of a world-class athlete or a master craftsman. Their confidence is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, assured, built on discipline, humility, and years of steady practice. That is the kind of confidence the Stoics valued, a confidence rooted not in comparison, but in integrity. Marcus Aurelius carried himself in this way. He did not see himself as flawless or superior. He saw himself as a student of life, constantly working to improve, constantly striving to act with virtue. This is the mindset we seek. To act as if you are the best is not to pretend you know everything or to deny mistakes. It is to show up each day with the belief that you are capable of meeting whatever life places before you. That belief quietly shapes your actions. It shapes how you carry yourself. And yes, others will notice, but the true measure is internal. The Stoics would remind us, real confidence is not borrowed from the opinions of others. It comes from knowing you are living in alignment with your values, doing your best in each moment. Arrogance tries to elevate you above others, but striving for your best is about lifting yourself up toward your own highest potential. That is the essence of excellence. Staying humble and grounded, as the Stoics taught, means you are not aiming for perfection, but for progress. You keep working on yourself, keep learning, and keep moving forward. You might be thinking, but I'm not the best. I'm nowhere close. How can I act as if I am? That feeling is natural. We all experience it. But here's the key. You don't have to already be the best in order to carry yourself with the mindset of someone striving toward their highest potential. Acting as if you're the best doesn't mean pretending or being delusional. It means choosing a perspective that helps unlock your capabilities. It starts with how you see yourself. The Stoics taught that we cannot always control events, but we can control our mindset and our response to life's challenges. And so, even if you are not at the top right now, you can still decide to approach each day with confidence, discipline, and purpose. When you live this way, something subtle but powerful happens. You begin to believe in your ability. And as belief strengthens, your actions follow. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a shift in perception that shapes behavior. The Stoics understood this deeply. Our thoughts guide our choices, and our choices shape who we become. Think of a simple example. Walking into a job interview. If you enter weighed down by doubt, convinced you're not good enough, your actions will reflect that belief. But if you walk in with composure, speaking clearly, carrying yourself with confidence, believing you can offer value, you change the entire outcome. Even if you don't get that particular job, you've strengthened resilience and practiced confidence, qualities that prepare you for the next opportunity. So when you tell yourself, "I'm not the best," remember, that was never the point. The point is to act in alignment with the person you are striving to become. Each time you choose this mindset, you raise yourself a little closer to that standard. The goal is not perfection. It never was. The goal is steady growth, continual refinement, and the pursuit of excellence. This is what the Stoics emphasized: progress over time, shaped by discipline and inner strength. As Seneca reminded us, life is a work in progress, and so are we. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. This reminder from the Stoics carries a simple truth. No matter how far you've come, there is always room to grow. The best in any field, whether an athlete, a philosopher, or a leader, never stop improving. They remain students of life. To act as if you are the best is not to boast, but to commit yourself to this same process of mastery. It is saying, "I will carry myself with dignity, and I will put in the steady work to keep becoming better." This is not arrogance. It is humility in action. Marcus Aurelius, though he ruled as emperor, constantly reminded himself to stay grounded, to keep learning, to keep improving. He did not see his position as the end, but as a responsibility, to strive for virtue every single day. When you adopt this mindset, you do the same. You aim to be better today than you were yesterday, knowing growth is a lifelong pursuit. Acting as if you are the best means raising your standards and taking responsibility for your own development. In relationships, it might mean asking, what would the best version of me do here? How would a good friend, partner, or parent respond? It isn't about pretending to be flawless, but about showing up each day a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more patient. In caring for your body, it means treating yourself as if you are capable of real vitality. What choices would I make if I believed my health was worth protecting? Diet, exercise, rest. These are not grand gestures, but small, disciplined acts that compound over time. The Stoic path is built on such choices, intentional, steady, and aimed toward long-term well-being. At first, acting as if may feel unnatural, almost like pretending. You might ask yourself, who am I to carry myself with such confidence? But here is the truth. What you practice, you become. Seneca reminded us, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Confidence, discipline, resilience. These are not traits you simply inherit. They are built step by step through repeated action. Each time you choose to act with strength, even in small ways, you reinforce that strength within yourself. Over time, it no longer feels like pretending. It becomes who you are. That is the power of practice. That is the quiet wisdom of the Stoics. That our lives are shaped not by what we dream, but by what we consistently do. It is about practicing the qualities you wish to embody until they become second nature. Think of it like training a muscle. At first, the effort feels heavy, even uncomfortable, but with repetition, your strength grows. Acting as if you are the best follows the same pattern. Each time you practice it, you reinforce the mindset until it becomes less of an act and more of a habit. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus reminded his students that while we cannot control the world around us, we can shape how we respond. By practicing virtuous actions, we bring ourselves into alignment with the person we aspire to be. Take confidence, for example. At first, you may feel awkward, standing tall, speaking with clarity, engaging with others. It can feel like play acting. Yet over time, through repetition, the awkwardness fades. What once felt like performance becomes genuine ease. This principle applies everywhere. When you practice making healthy choices, you gradually become someone who lives with health as a natural rhythm. When you practice sound decisions with money, you eventually become someone who carries financial stability. Growth does not arrive in an instant. It is cultivated through small, steady acts. The Stoics taught that we do not need to wait for change to arrive from outside. We create it through our daily choices. The key is consistency. Not a single moment of effort, but the discipline to return to the practice again and again. Over time, what once felt like effort becomes who you are. What began as practice becomes reality. And in this way, you move closer to the best version of yourself, not through wishing, but through living. Your actions shape your character, and your character shapes your life. Each day, through practice, you are quietly building the reality you live in. When we speak of acting as if you are the best, it can be easy to mistake it for ignoring flaws or pretending they don't exist. But the truth is the opposite. To act as if you are the best is to have the courage to face your weaknesses directly and to use them as opportunities for growth. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that self-awareness and honest reflection are essential for improvement. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Part of that strength lies in recognizing where we fall short, not to drown in shame, but to learn and to grow. The best people in any field are not those who believe themselves flawless. They are those who know their shortcomings with clarity, yet refuse to be defined by them. Instead, they treat them as fuel to keep improving. For the Stoics, weakness was never failure. It was an invitation to practice virtue, to strengthen discipline, and to cultivate resilience. Epictetus often reminded his students that the path to mastery runs straight through obstacles, not around them. Think of it this way. When you ignore your weaknesses, they do not disappear. They grow in the shadows. But when you acknowledge them with honesty and take steps to improve, they become a training ground for your strength. This requires humility. Acting like the best does not mean believing you are perfect. It means holding confidence in your strengths while being fully aware of where you must improve. Seneca often wrote that even failure carries its lessons, that setbacks can be our greatest teachers, showing us where growth is needed and sharpening the qualities we lack. To see your weaknesses not as shame, but as part of your development, that is where real strength begins. It is the courage to confront yourself and the discipline to keep moving forward. What holds us back is often not the world, but how we choose to meet it. The Stoic approach is to see challenges, including our own shortcomings, not as reasons for despair, but as fuel for becoming stronger and more resilient. To act as if you are the best is not to pretend at perfection. It is to show the strength to face your flaws honestly, to learn from them, and to keep moving toward the person you aspire to be. This is how the Stoics lived, aware of their own imperfections, yet committed to growth and progress. And this effort extends beyond yourself. The Stoics spoke of sympathia, the idea that we are all connected and that our actions ripple outward. When you raise your standards, you not only improve your own life, you inspire those around you. Think of how it feels to be near someone who carries themselves with calm purpose. They do not need to announce it. Their actions and presence speak for them. Their discipline and clarity encourage others to rise as well. This is how you lead, not by command, but by example. Acting as if you are the best means embodying qualities that others respect and naturally want to emulate. In doing so, you contribute to the growth of your family, your friends, your colleagues, anyone touched by your example. It is a quiet ripple effect of change, just as the Stoics intended. Of course, no life is free from failure. The Stoics knew this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Failure, then, is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path that shapes it. To act as if you are the best does not mean you believe you will never fall. It means you meet failure with resilience, knowing each setback carries lessons. You cannot control the outcome, but you can always control your response. Instead of treating failure as a personal defeat, see it as feedback, a chance to adjust, refine, and grow stronger. Epictetus reminded his students that stumbling is part of the human journey, and that every mistake can be turned into material for building character. The best in any field are not those who never fail. They are the ones who rise again, each time with greater wisdom and steadiness. That is the Stoic way, to transform every obstacle into an opportunity for strength. Our true strength is revealed in how we rise after we fall. Failure is not the end of the story. It is a necessary step in the path of growth. Acting as if you are the best is not a single decision. It is a daily practice. The Stoics understood the value of steady, deliberate action. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning of the simple privilege